Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Gordon, and this is a Hangout sponsored by the entrepreneur, self-employed, and small business community on Google+. And this time we're doing something a little bit different. We're having what I'm calling a virtual co-working session. Never tried it before, don't know if it will work, but I don't really see any reason why it shouldn't. And the idea is kind of simple. If you were in a real co-working situation, you would be working all day, and then eventually you would get bored, or one of your coworkers would get bored, and they'd come up to your cubicle or workspace, and they'd pop their head over and say, "Hey, what you working on?" That's all this. You've been working maybe by yourself all day, or maybe with other people, but now, in the virtual world here, in other cities and towns across the nation and the world, some of your coworkers are now going to poke over your head and say, "Hey, what you doing?" And so, in a nutshell, that's all that is. We're getting chatted. We've got Denise here, Denise Duquette, an associate of mine. I'm delighted she could come. And John, what's your last name?
Chang.
John Chang. Well, why don't you introduce yourself to start, John, and then we'll go back to Denise, and then we'll get the show on the road. What do you do? Give us don't tell us, don't answer the "what are you doing right now" question, but just give us a little bit about the big picture about your business to start with.
Yeah, sure. Basically, I've started kind of realizing that the people I really love working with are creative entrepreneurs, folks who they have some kind of art or something that they really love to pursue, and then they're looking to basically, find a way to monetize it, to build a lifestyle around what it is that they really are passionate about. So that's really who my ideal audience. And then the way I'm trying, basically looking to kind of help them is take some of the things I've done over the years, everything from, just basic marketing to also I've helped people to buy and sell businesses. Just basically, taking it from the ground up all the way through to when they may possibly either look to retire or make a change or, basically, ultimately do what it is that they, beyond simply the work that they're doing, but also having the life that they really want to live and stuff. So the other means I'm doing this is creating content. I've recently created a couple of Udemy courses. One's on Instagram marketing, and the other one is a course on buying and selling businesses. And I'm still really looking to hit my stride to figure out what it is that the folks really need to know. And that's always the trick with any of this stuff, is not simply, in a given moment, what I think that they want to know or what it is that will help them, but simply what is their pain, what it is that right now in the given moment that they're really struggling with. So that's one of the things that I'm really looking to do, is just really get more of a pulse of what it is that really are challenges for creative entrepreneurs.
Oh, that is just absolutely awesome. I love it. I could talk about what you just said forever. I have noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs are really making a good effort to help other entrepreneurs now. And I don't know if we're tapping into that. In a way, there's almost too much information. I want to delve into that a little bit more. But Andrew Leifert, did I pronounce your name? Welcome, Andrew. We're just doing introductions right now. I already know you, but for the sake of our millions of viewing audience, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do? Because you've got a fun business.
Yeah, well, my name's Andrew Ledford. I do dog training primarily, or I have in the past. I'm looking to expand into other areas. I have a community TV show on Long Beach Cable, and really looking to do more video.
Oh, you got that going, huh? Because we haven't talked in maybe a year.
Yeah, it's been so long that my old camera would not work on Google Plus anymore. They changed their rules, so I had to get a webcam instead of using a regular camera.
Did you ever get? Andrew owns owns the dog community. He's a dog trainer, and I think you have a huge number of views. Is it like 1 million members of that community?
It's not even within the first 100 largest communities anymore. It's 180,000 something.
Okay, so Britney Spears beat you out. How are you saying? That was supposed to be a joke. It just wasn't very funny. Denise, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Again, I already know you and what you're doing. You've got a cool business. Denise has personally helped me in a number of ways. I'm going to show, when I show my projects, I'm going to show part of that. But why don't you give us a quick overview, not necessarily what you're doing right at the moment, just a quick overview of your business, Denise.
So I'm Denise. I'm the owner of the Office Virtual Assistants, and I've been a VA since 2006. And love what I do. I'm actually getting ready to go speak at the International Virtual Assistant Association Live Summit in Myrtle Beach the first week of May. Originally, we were going to be talking about Google+, but we kind of right around the time that they announced photos and streams, we decided that it would be best to change our topic. So we did a comprehensive ebook, The A to Z's of Running a Virtual Assistant Practice through Evernote. And so that's what we're going to be talking about. And so we're putting the final touches on the actual presentation because we've got this great ebook that we're giving away, but we're not going to talk about virtually anything in the book. They can read that in their own time. We're going to talk about the fun ways of taking notes and having a little more lively, engaging meeting rather than a top-down, sit down, take some notes, go to school kind of session. So
well, that sounds very cool. I think you made a wise choice of not doing it about Google+, because nobody really knows what's going on with Google+ except Google, and they're not talking.
Exactly.
And I do know they don't really use that name anymore. I haven't heard anyone at Google use that name in like a year. It's, you know, at least not in printed form.
Yeah, I was at the Chrome Live event yesterday, and I was, you know, seeing what kind of things they're coming out with, and even though they mentioned Hangouts and everything, yeah, there is no mention of Google+. So, you know, we had a backup topic to use in case, you know, because we had to be a speaker over 6 months ago, and even that second choice was not well received. So we went with Evernote. It's easy, but it can be much like, more.
Is this ebook written now? Or?
It's written in it's written in a format downloadable for the conference. It's not like something that's out on Amazon or anything like that yet. Maybe someday, though.
I'd like to read it. It sounds interesting.
It's got a lot of techie nerdy stuff in it, so it's cool.
Okay, we're going to get started with the actual core session now. Okay, theoretically, when we roll up our sleeves, but it's not really rolling up your sleeves. It's sort of like when you take a work break at work. So, you know, it's not quite the coffee break where we just sit around shooting the shit. It's slightly more serious, but not totally serious. So what I'd like you to do is, if you have not already, is open some tabs of work projects you'd like to talk to us about or like to show us, tabs in your browser, and then we'll give everybody 5 minutes or so. You know, so you show 2 or 3 tabs, whatever you can do. And if you need to show more, we'll see if we can come back. John, I think I'm going to pick on you first. Are you ready yet? Or?
Yeah, I'm game.
Okay. Why don't you start?
I'm right now getting it.
We've got kind of the big picture about what you're doing.
Right.
You know, your venture to help entrepreneurs. Now just tell us, you know, right now I'm working on whatever. So go for it.
Okay. Maybe the easiest thing to do is right now I'm going to. Is there? I guess I can share my screen, right?
Yeah. Do you know how to do that? In fact,
I do. I'm starting it now.
Okay.
And so it should be coming up for my screen.
Okay. Looks good. I see it.
Okay. So these are the few Demi courses that, and you can see that like I have a couple of draft ones that like, you know, it's like kind of my the ones that like I'm thinking of like my first course that I actually started to work on was the course for field inspection, which is one of the first things I was able to sell in terms of online training. And you know, it's such a small niche that I realized that like it's just not really. It's also not what I'm passionate about. Like I said, you know, like as we've talked about, I really believe that creative entrepreneurs are really who I feel the most connection with, and that's why like I've shifted the focus then to these other courses that, you know, leverage more some of the experiences I have. So the first one that I created was actually Build a Business That You Can Sell, and that one talks about the idea that like so many times entrepreneurs are spending their you know energy and all their resources and stuff on building a business that ultimately they may not be able to kind of benefit from in the sense of that um, if you have a business that like is really a job that only you can do, ultimately you're not ever going to be able to sell that business if you ever need to. If like for example, um, let's say you formed it with a partner or stuff like that, and you decide to go separate ways and you just want to cash out. Well, if you are the business, if like you're doing roles in there that nobody else can do, that's not going to be sellable business. If say for example you like have some kind of like situation where you get sick or something like that, and you need to kind of get out of the business again. And again, if you are the business, then that's not something that anybody's going to be interested in buying and stuff. And so that's really what I learned when I was helping folks to buy and sell businesses. And so that's why I decided that like this is something that I needed to kind of help people understand. And that's really what that course covers. So it's just basically from the beginning to end about that very topic and stuff like that. So that's my first course. Then afterwards, recently, like a few weeks ago, I helped to co-produce a course with my friend Sarah Davidson about Udemy marketing, or excuse me, Instagram marketing for startups and entrepreneurs. And she's also kind of we've just kind of started talking and realizing we're on the same mission to help folks who are really getting started and stuff like that. And again, my focus has been creative entrepreneurs, but there's so much alignment in terms of the needs of just anybody who's doing a startup or everything like that. And there's so many things to cover. We picked Instagram marketing because that's a growing area. That's a social media platform that we've really seen a lot of growth and a lot of confusion as to how to use it and leverage it and stuff. So that's why we decided to focus on that. She's got background working with startups doing that, so that's why we kind of joined forces and created that program and stuff. So those are like my recent kind of things, and I'm saying all this more not so much to plug these and stuff, but more that like I'll be honest, I'm still trying to figure out what it is that like how I can best help creative entrepreneurs. I recently launched a blog. Let me switch to that real quick. It's called The Butterfly Formula, and I'm just basically starting to write about, just the topics that I feel like I've come up, because one of the things that kind of was discussed in some forums and stuff like that was the idea of fear and how, like so many times fear takes so many shapes and forms and gets in the way of creativity. And so I just kind of shared some of my own experiences in flying in terms of just just crazy things that I have to admit I've done.
Are you a pilot?
Sorry?
Are you a pilot?
I am actually. I got my start in the Navy. I ended up actually getting to the final check ride, but they decided that unfortunately they were making cuts, and I just didn't make the cut and everything like that. So for time in the Navy, I spent actually on the ground, supporting our pilots and stuff like that. But basically, I did get my private pilot's license. I went through, like I said, just for all the flight school right up to the last check ride and stuff like that. And I share some of that, just basically because, for better or for worse, it was just basically an experience that I can't really. There's nothing in the world that I can trade that for. It was just amazing, just to do things like aerobatics, just to do formation flying and stuff. But to do that, I had to face some real fears. I actually did not know how to swim before I joined the Navy, and I share some of that in what I wrote about. And I guess for some reason, there must be something wrong with me in the sense that like I think I have this fear switch that's kind of turned off or something like that. And yet at the same time, I have fears just like everyone else. Like there's definitely different things that like when I stood up on the platform for that swim test and not knowing how to swim and everything like that, Then this was like 15, 20 feet in the air, and still needing to jump in that water anyway. What was it that allowed me to do it? I can't fully explain it, other than that, like, part of me realized that, like, I needed to do it, and I went ahead and did it and stuff like that.
Well, John, I can really feel your passion. You've got a very cool business, very cool ventures. I want to come back to you. Really good start. I got a good sense of what you're up to now. But we've got some more people. I want to at least get people in. I'm actually, I lose the window. So I'm staring at something else here. All right, wait a second. I'll find you people. Let's see, who has, want to introduce my friend Mark Pierce. Mark, how are you doing?
Hi, everybody. I don't really have a business venture, so I'm just here.
Yes, you do. You've had some cool ones, because I know about them. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I did was, I'll just let everybody know. So what I did is I converted all my ideas to a video tutorial library. I converted all my skill sets with WordPress security and teaching security on your local laptop. All the things that I know about malware and security, I'm going to teach it. And something I didn't tell you, Rob, is I don't have a business no longer. So that's my.
Are you employed by someone now? Or?
No.
Okay.
No.
You just.
I'm actually officially retired.
Congratulations. But Mark, by the way, is just awesome at video productions and integrating them in websites, and actually kind of the best I've ever seen. So we'll come back to you. I think you're not really retired. I'm suspicious about that. But I want to get Michael McGuire introduced here. Michael, I don't think you and I have ever been in a hangout together. Welcome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing, but not really go into the current project, just kind of the big picture, what you're up to right now.
Sure, Rob. Thanks. Good to see you. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I've got a little business consulting company, MMC Business Management Solutions, and I work with a number of clients across North America, down in Orlando, Calgary, here in Northern Ontario, and basically, as I try to explain to my mom, just help people manage their businesses.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm sure a lot of us include help. Denise, could you check for me to see if anybody needs an invitation? We've got plenty of people here for the hangout.
Actually, TellSync Business Center is wondering if there's a way to ask questions. So maybe you could invite them in, and then they can ask their questions live.
They already have an invitation. If they need another one, let us know. But yeah, they can ask questions right there, and if you could keep an eye on that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then just interrupt me or when a question comes up, because that's welcome. And let's see, what next? What should we do next? I think we're going to pick on you next. I'll let you finish. Well, no, we'll go to Andrew first, and then we'll come back to Denise. Andrew, I told everybody to open their tabs for projects they want to show, but I have a feeling your tabs are some dogs. But if you want to, why don't you tell us what you're working on now, what you're trying to grow with your business, problems you have. This is now we're getting into the part where a coworker in your co-working space, comes over and says, "Hey, what you working on? What you working on, Andrew?"
I'm working on just making enough money to get a new video camera.
Okay. How are you doing? How are you trying?
I'm actually looking for a job.
Okay.
And probably in maybe either video, or I'd like to do hosting, but that's very competitive. Like a host on a show.
Okay.
And that's what I do on my show that's on Long Beach.
Are you still a dog trainer? Or?
Yeah, I still train. If somebody wants me to train, that's my point of reference for everything I do. Whether it's interacting with people or working with dogs or pretty much everything, because it kind of encompasses all of life, training dogs, because you're working with the people, you're working with dogs. There's that interspecies communication, so that there's a lot of body language. There's just so much that crosses over from people to dogs. A lot of ritualization, a lot of things with aggression, body posturing. So my dog training, I use like basically 8 positions to work the dog, to move them around, to get them to do what I want as far as facing them, as well as stepping. Same thing for people. It's basically taken from Daichuan.
Okay. So you say you're looking for a job. Is the dog training not bringing you enough money, or not
You know, since Google has decided to own local, yeah, I have a really hard time marketing online.
Okay.
It used to be that I was like within the first page of all key search words and all local search. But since Google's been tightening the noose on controlling local more and more, I get less and less business. No matter how much I write, no matter how much social media I do, it's just without advertising with somebody, Google or Facebook, it's just not there.
Yeah, I get the feeling that organic SEO is a thing of the past. And we're getting to be like hamsters running around on all those little wheels. No, I tell my clients it doesn't do any good. Just pay Google. Some of those Google. What is that called? AdWords Express. I recommended that to a client. It's like $5 a month. He was a furniture store and he didn't do it. He didn't do it because I gave him the advice and he decided he didn't trust me. So he's just posting bullshit on Google Plus now. Nobody cares about it. And we'll never give him any business. I say, just give the devil his due. Just pay Google. They do have some pretty low-cost plans. Try it for a couple months. And I'm not advertising for Google. I'm just saying pay Google and Facebook. Those are the people who are going to get seen. I mean, I'm not an SEO person, so someone can disagree with me if they want. But that's kind of my take on it. All right.
I used to think that if you produced content that was fairly high quality, that you would get people showing up, and it used to be that way. But I just don't find that anymore.
Okay. We'll probably come back to it. I want to make sure everybody gets in here. People forget that Google is the business to make money. John says that's correct. Denise, you told us a little bit about your conference you're going. We know that you're, a virtual assistant, and that you run the virtual assistants community on Google Plus. It's a very active and dynamic community. What are you working on right now? What's in the next, day, week, couple weeks? And if there's anything you want to show us on screen.
Damn cat! I swear to God. So I'm literally chunking out bits and pieces of our presentation for IBAA and making it into a presentation on Google Slides so that I don't have to bring my laptop with me to South Carolina. Anything that I don't have to carry is a godsend. And other than that, I've been working on a lot of. I'm also a SCORE mentor with our local Champlain Valley chapter, and we kind of had a big brouhaha offsite meeting a few weeks ago and needed to really define a marketing strategy for our chapter. I mean, ultimately, SCORE is about giving mentoring to, but our local chapter really didn't have a really guide as to what else we wanted to do. So we had a big brouhaha meeting, and it was very taxing on my patience. But so I've been working a lot to basically write from A to Z a marketing strategy.
Well, what do you mean brouhaha? Was it contentious?
There's a generational issue. I mean, I'm like 15 years younger than the next youngest person in SCORE. So the concept of advertising our workshops and roundtables on social media is something they would not consider. So I finally got ticked off enough. I because of my geographic area, I don't have a really wide territory for people I can see. And I said, here's the deal. I volunteer. I come up every friggin' month. I drive 35 miles one way to come to a monthly meeting for clients I don't see and actions that don't get done. The least you can do is, if we're going to do a marketing thing, if we're going to actually try to find people who are looking to start a business, let's make a marketing plan and make that happen, not just kind of sit there and figure it out as we go. And so I'm not going to say I lost my temper, but I just basically said, get it together.
I can't imagine Denise losing her temper because I've been in hangouts, private hangouts with her, where I've just been ranting and venting, swearing like a sailor, and totally kept her cool.
Yeah, but see, I'm used to that. But it was just, it was more of the fact that every month we do a roundtable session, and every month the attendance has really dropped, and the topics they're talking about are so outdated.
I think scoring needs to be re-engineered or something. I know a lot of people think very highly of the organization. I do think it's a good concept, but get rid of the retired part.
No, I think
actually
they are very valuable.
I had one score mentor a number of years ago, and I didn't remember what I was talking to him about. I think it was a thing I was doing for California, and he asked me how much I thought I could make off it in the first year, and I think I did some really exaggerated calculations, really, really, really exaggerated, and said I thought I could make $75,000, which just wasn't true. I mean, if I made $10,000, I would have been lucky. And he goes, well, why even bother? Because in his worldview, $75,000 was just pocket change. This was a number of years ago, and that was kind of the .com era. But still, like, God, dude, I mean, some of us have to eat. And this kind of dovetails in with some of the things that John was saying that I didn't mention before, is the economy is really changing a lot. And in particular, the workforce is really changing. And I think the reason we're seeing so many people trying to help entrepreneurs in this is because there's not that much good help out there in the system. Mark, is Mark still here?
Yeah.
Mark and I talked about I think you're in the one state where they did allow it, the unemployment system. If you have a corporate job and you get laid off, you get rewarded at one time for as long as 2 years of unemployment. We lose our jobs, we just starve. And Mark was in the one state, Oregon, that had some programs that, did allow a little bit for startups, but even that was pretty lame, wasn't it, Mark? It wasn't
yeah, it failed me miserably. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. But anyway, I'm gonna now jump in and talk about what I'm doing. So let me try to screen share over here. Let me see here. I just did that wrong. Okay, now if I freeze, which sometimes happens, just somebody else take over and start talking and get everybody else talking about themselves. Because that is possible. We've been lucky so far, knock on wood, but I'm going to try right now. Okay, wait a second. What happened is I'm going to cancel that because the hangout itself came up, and I'll go into an infinite loop if I show that. Let me try again.
I think it was a good idea, Rob, having this. I stumbled on this, and I thought, oh yeah, how many people is going to show up and share what they're working on?
Well, Mark, why don't you talk a little bit while I'm getting ready, because I'm kind of suspicious about your retirement. Tell us the rest of your story, because I'll show you where I left off. Mark was because I know you, and in fact, we did some work together. Mark was a data security specialist for the federal government. Then he started his own venture to do security, mostly for WordPress blogs.
Right. Yeah, I carried over my computer security over because I found out that a lot of the malware that people are getting in WordPress is actually spawning from their local computers, and people are not listening to what I'm saying. And so what they are is they're getting infected, and the advanced technology that we're seeing out there today is so advanced I can't even keep up with it. And now I'm reading it's so far advanced that they're using I can't even explain it. I read an article yesterday that it's getting so advanced that now companies are talking about getting rid of the definitions within the virus software itself and using another form. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, stuff I talk about is pretty boring. But let's put it this way. If you are using a laptop to bank, you better make sure that laptop or computer is properly locked down. So what I try to do is teach people the very basics. Security on your local machine will get into your WordPress site.
Okay, so you're not really.
If it does, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble.
See, here's what, Mark, that's a hot area. I mean, there's nothing hotter than.
Nobody listens until it gets done, and then they just say, I got hacked. But they don't know why. And then I explain kind of how it happens. And then pretty much nobody really thinks about it. They just go on their computer and they type away. And I'm going to be building a pretty large security video tutorial series on my site that I'm building now. So this information, I'm not advertising it. It's a membership site, and I'm not actually charging. And if I tell people it's free, they won't think it's of any value. So once you sign up, you get on the inside of the site, you'll find out it's free. The only thing I have on the inside is a donation button. And you know what I'm going to say on the inside? Pay for what you think it's worth.
That's an approach that might work for you. Because you provide a valuable service, there's no doubt. My voice is giving up, so I'm going to be a hog, and I'm going to do mine now.
Okay, your screen's blank, but yeah, I'm quiet. Go ahead.
It's blank? My screen is blank?
Yeah, I see black. Does anybody see black?
You still see black?
Yeah, there it is. Come up.
Okay. Okay. This is a little bit similar to what. Let me preface my presentation by saying I am just hustling and looking for work now, and I've got two offers on the table. One, I wrote a long form. I wrote and put on the community a long form blog post for $125. Damn voice. My voice never gives out. That is still on the table. It's a really good offer. I've got researched. I will do a research blog post for you. And I wrote up why, if you look at the world market, that's very expensive. If you look at what I'm doing, it's not. So if that's something you're interested in, take a look at that post or ping me and I'll send it to you. And I haven't reposted it lately, but I have a 10 hours of professional services offer for $250. I got some great clients on that one, and it went really well. I'm thinking of reposting that maybe even today. And I'm not going to tout that. I explain it more in the post. I can show you later. But if you're interested in that, the way I work with clients, I work 100% in their interests. I don't have any other groups. I don't try to push Google or anybody on anything. I just look at your situation and say, what can I do to help this person win? And I get 10 solid hours of that for $25. For $25 an hour for $250 total. It's a really good deal. I'll send you the post if you're interested. So that's a preface, and but I do want to show you some of my slightly longer term projects, and I'm going to keep mine till 5 minutes. So I want to start by showing. This is Google Drive, and I'm the entrepreneurs community on the Virtual Brain Trust, which has not been very active lately. We've asked a few times, or people have come up with questions like, hey, I want to start a business. What do I do? This dovetails right into what John is saying, too. And it always strikes me as being kind of a dumb, stupid, not stupid, but, it's such a, naive isn't the right word. I don't have the right word, but I'm always surprised at the amount of interaction those questions do. I want to start a business. What do I do? And people just jump in with all sorts of ideas and suggestions, and some of them are really good. But what I think we're missing is a roadmap for entrepreneurs, for small businesses, for startups that take you exactly where you want to go. That there needs to be some kind of assessment tool that first looks like, where are you at? What have you done? I mean, things as simple as, do you have a logo? Now, you might even decide to skip certain steps, like, I don't need a logo now. So anyway, from a number of posts over a couple of years, I've compiled an outline of, and it's nowhere near finished, but I've taken the Google Docs and I've numbered them, the different things that I think a small business entrepreneur should have to do. And these are all really blank. Like, here's what do you really want. The very first ones are really personal development activities, because you really can't separate the life of the entrepreneur from the entrepreneur. They're really similar. So this is an example of a little module I would like to write, or maybe I have written. Oh, well, I got setting goals and objectives. I clicked the wrong one. But you get the idea. Some of these, this one's not done. So the idea would be give the person a summary of goals, a little exercise they should do, and then references. Goals and objectives are kind of a weird one because it's more controversial than you might think, and so I haven't even written that one yet. So what I have done, to get on what are you working on now, because that's a long-term picture. And like I said, I would love to have an assessment tool or maybe we got some experts like from the entrepreneurs community, some of the people in this hangout even, to say, let's assess this business and give them our best shot. But we need that roadmap. So I'm working on that roadmap. And then I cherry-picked some of my favorite ones, because I just don't want to grow old and die while I'm doing this. So I cherry-picked some of my favorite ones. And this is the one, Venture Acceleration for Solopreneurs. If you had to set a theme for what I'm doing, that would kind of be it. And then I also posted on the entrepreneurs community. I wanted to write a long-form blog post. Well, the more I looked into it, the more I realized this is not just a long-form blog post. This is at least an ebook. And so then I picked out other ones that I like. What do you really want? Have a really good exercise, help you decide what you really want. How to become an expert. These are all partially written. Taking action. Over the years, I've got some great advice on this. Some of it contradictory. That's the thing about entrepreneurial things. A lot of them they're like Chinese proverbs. They could be, he who hesitates is lost, look before you leap. Entrepreneurial advice is exactly the same way. Sometimes it's completely the opposite. This one is something I probably will work on next, is how to conduct a resource inventory. That's part of effectuation, which is an entrepreneurial strategy that says basically you look at what you have and you set your strategy from that. I'm going to bring this one up because this is really just rough material, but this is what are we working on now. I looked up, how do you do a resource inventory if you're a solopreneur? And there was nothing on it out there. And I don't have very many personal resources right now. This is, by the way, my template for doing long-form blog posts, which I mentioned is an offer now, which is, I've got a really good system for making long-form material. I'm better at it than other people. But let me get down to where I was writing some of my notes. Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah, you're doing good.
I just had this nightmare that I was talking to myself for the last hour.
You're doing good.
I mean, here's what this is kind of a cool list. I mean, if you want to do an inventory of what you have, especially if you think, I hate to use that word abundance, to come at things with a mindset of abundance. Well, when you can't pay the bills, that's hard to do. But I'm just starting saying, well, if you did a personal resource inventory, here's some of the things you might find. You can look at your own experience, the ideas you had, projects, or even past projects. Your values, that's another thing I'm going to go into. Your habits, you might have some good habits or habits you can change. Your systems, I'm really strong on this one. As Denise is, we've got some kick-ass systems, right, Denise?
He is the process king.
Yeah, well, you are. Denise and I are very like-minded on systems. We're just finish each other's sentences. Your relationships, your possessions, your contacts, your technology, your skills, your living situations. No matter how poor you are, your story, your feelings, your brains, your bright spot. This means when you look at the small things that are working. So I'm not gonna hog too much time. I just want to go real quickly into two things I'm working on. One is my more idealistic. My more idealistic project is World Startups. This is something really cool I've been looking at. It's good. It's a community portal for startups, global startups. I've been trying to integrate the entrepreneurs community into this. It does all sorts of things. I've got our business videos that we've done, including this one I'll upload later. So I'm gonna shut up in just a second here. I just want people to know this exists. I'd love to have somebody work on another group I saw that's doing something really similar, and they're way ahead of me, and they're polished, but they're doing what I would love to do would be virtual acceleration. They're kind of emphasizing crowdfunding, but I would love to start a virtual accelerator. This might be a small step in that direction. So that's kind of my idealistic project. Just to tell you, it's an open source dating software. I hacked that. I'm not really a developer, but it's better than a lot that's out there. And I'm not going to brag, but I mean, it's good. It's just not very active yet. With some kind of little extra boost of energy, I'm not sure where it would come from. This could go someplace. So anyway, and the other thing I want to mention before I go is, and this Denise really did more for me than I did for myself, but I am back working on it. And this is Action Planning Associates, which I intend to use as my brand for my commercial services. Denise did all the initial work on this. I'm very grateful for the help she's given me. She's given me a lot of help. But I want to really, and she took my work and just made it better, which is great. I want to transfer this to the extent I can into a small business advisory. It's kind of got a project management orientation now. I want to transfer that into a small business advisory. So I'm working on the text for that now. Just show you one more quick thing before I'm going. Here is where I'm doing this in a system called Workflowy, which is just a wonderful outliner. You can just do anything in it. And these are the capabilities I'm working. So the pages she did for me, I'm going to change into 5 pages. Small business strategy and planning, project management and scheduling, technical writing and documentation, marketing and business communication. And I need to work on the words for this, but I have systems and requirements analysis, which is really technology, and I just need to rework that. So anyway, once I kind of got the top down, then I'll start writing, then I'll have the text, then redoing the website won't be that hard. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to unshare my screen now and stop being a hog. So probably talk more than...
No, you should be a hog. This is your hangout. Let me say something. I always go over, if you're on a roll, I don't think you should stop. If somebody's in a hurry, they could leave. When I host, I always go over, and quite honestly, I wanted to see all that. So that's my shake on things. If you go over a couple minutes, that was quite interesting. Now,
but I got to find the window you guys are in.
What I have to show is quite short. I build modular courses. Now, I also build short video how to do something, how to set up something. So instead of me, like when I show people how to do something, I can tell you it's not the same as you sitting over my shoulder and watching a quick how-to 2-minute video. But what if you want to know how to create something specific that takes a few more steps? Well, you go to my video site and you click on something and you watch it. Okay.
I can absolutely give a sincere testimonial to how good he is.
Well,
because he integrates, Mark integrates his videos with the website. I mean, so it's like single-click actions. He'll be talking. It's actually pretty amazing. But Mark, I will come back to you, but I want to get Mike in because Mike is Mike's got an interesting business. Mike, you told us a little bit about what you're doing. It's intrigued us. What are you working on now? The short to medium term. What's your next thing? And if you want a screen share, feel free.
Well, it's an interesting question. As you've been talking about and sharing what you're working on, I spend the better part of my mental powers every day working on behalf of my clients, dealing with their issues, marketing, operations management, and I don't spend a lot of time working on my own business. I find that I get bogged down looking at my business, trying to develop it when I do, and I run into the same challenges that my clients hire me for.
What do they say? The barber always needs the always needs the pair of shoes.
The value contribution that I offer to my clients is I can take an outsider's look at their business, not clouded by the day-to-day challenges that they face, not clouded by the emergencies, the fires, the issues, and I can see the bigger picture, and they can describe to me in general what they're trying to achieve, and I can create systems and procedures to help them do that.
Now, you were an executive at one time, or maybe you still are. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
You were an executive at one time, right?
Yes, I was. I was the managing partner of a manufacturing company that went from $0 to $1 million the first year in North American sales. So ran that whole thing for 8 years, and then translated into sales, marketing, distribution, and then became a division manager for a $10 million company for 3 years. Out of that came, a lifestyle change, and I ended up doing what I'm doing now. But the challenge, this hangout is about what we're doing, what projects we're working on. I find that the greatest benefit I gain from developing my own business comes from my clients, because I try to describe to them what I'm doing, and they're able to see my business oftentimes better than I can see it myself. I don't know if anyone else has that experience.
I absolutely experienced that. Yeah, in fact, your clients are it can be really useful. It's kind of cheating in a way to tell them, like, hey, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you this way, but this is what I'm trying to do with my own business. What do you think? You get great ideas from them. I've got one really wonderful client now. Fortunately, she's fallen ill. I told them, like, look, I'm in the early stages of trying to set up a small business advisory. You've been kind of a narrow niche of that, the project management side. What do you think? What works? And I've gotten great ideas doing that. Can I ask Michael, how do you get clients? That's always of interest to me. Everybody always says word of mouth, but you're working outside of Canada. You get clients all over, I take it.
That's right, and I haven't so much strategically gained clients as I have, and maybe disappointingly, my clients are also word of mouth. I'm in Orlando because I have family there. I'm in Calgary because I lived there for 26 years, and I still have family there. I'm developing clients here in North Bay because I live here now. I started, you raised Google AdWords or AdWords Plus, I think it was, 20 minutes ago, and I just started dabbling in that myself.
I think it's called AdWords Express. I think it's called AdWords Express, yeah. Yeah.
And what I found is it's easy to get people to come to my site. Right now I'm trying to promote my little web design business, web design page. It's easy to get them to come to the site, $6 a pop. But you know what? I've only converted one person. I've only had one call. So developing the landing page to the point where it triggers that next step, I think that's the holy grail, certainly for trying to cultivate business beyond referrals.
Yeah. And everybody always says, like you did, it's word of mouth. How do I get that damn word of mouth? It's like I feel like I'm the only one in the universe that doesn't get word of mouth. I want to say hi to Clarence. Hi, Clarence. Can you hear us? Clarence is a investor in Ohio, I believe. And it looks like his microphone is muted. Clarence, can you hear us or not? Well, jump in when you can. We are now, we now got about 7 or 8 minutes for it to be an hour. What I'd like to do is just open up the floor to everybody talk. Does anybody feel they haven't said enough about their own presentation? Let's just open up the floor for the last 5 minutes or so. Say anything you want. Ask questions to other members. Anything I've forgotten. Ideas.
I want to go. I want to go. Let me go.
Go.
So I'm working on a thing on the side, and I need some push. There's been a extremely rampant amount of plagiarism in my industry over the last 6 months. Very unethical behavior, very unprofessional. It was bad enough when foreign labor was actually sucking the life out of the VA industry, but now that we're doing it internally, it's just a cancer rotting. So I kind of been mulling over in my brain kind of like a Take the Pledge campaign. for virtual assistants. Not only for virtual assistants to take, but for their clients also to take. So it would be like a two-pronged attack where, you know, as a VA, you say, I'm going to be ethical. I'm not going to take a job and then outsource it overseas and not tell my client. I'm not going to steal content. I'm not, you know, all the things you should be doing. And on the flip side, clients are going to say, hey, I promise that I'm going to be accountable and transparent with my virtual assistant partner. I am not going to go behind their back and contract overseas. And
could you tell us a little bit more about specifically what's happening? Are they copying blog posts or what?
There are two virtual assistants specifically. You know, you hear these, they're rock star VAs. They're big names in the industry. And one of them, a virtual assistant, purchased her program, her coaching mentoring program, which has a lot of downloadable content. Then took all of the content on that person's website, you know, the About Us, the contact page, you know, everything, 9 yards. And put it up as her own. Put up all of the paid-for content, put her name on it instead of the original writers, and then did a chargeback on her credit card account. That was one of them.
That's awful. This is a big name person?
Yeah.
That's awful.
So the author, you know, the original owner, went after this person, and obviously she lost her hosting and all of that kind of stuff. She has since bounced back, the naughty person, and I did a spot check of her blog posts, and all of her blog posts are 3 or 4 years old from another virtual assistant whom I notified of her content being stolen. There's another one who is a big proponent that, you know, she does the best training, the best everything else, and her programs are copied verbatim from another virtual assistant. So it's just been a lot of crap. You know, it's drama.
That's going on. You know, that kind of makes, when the environment becomes unfair, it's demoralizing. You know, when people win by cheating, that's never fun. So that's unfortunate. But I don't know about a campaign, but take the pledge. It's an interesting idea. We can mull that a bit.
Has
I just don't know if it's not. I'm sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Denise. Has FCC been notified?
In the first instance, the author is not in the U.S. She's in Greece. And the bad girl, the naughty girl, is in the U.S. The second, and when she went and redid it again, the original author is in the U.K. The other instance, one is in Israel. The stealer is in Israel, and the original content, I think, is from the U.S. and she is pursuing legal action.
Okay.
And then there was another instance over the past weekend where a very naive new virtual assistant contracted a website company who also provided content and stole A to Z everything on there.
Oh, wow.
And she was fortunate enough because she came out and she said, you know, I was just advised that everything on my website is stolen. What do I do? But you know, we're primarily a female-based industry, and women like drama. I don't need drama. You know? And it ticks me off. You know, I bust my butt to do good work, and I don't need someone else to.
You're always helping other people. You're community oriented, and it's unfortunate to see unethical behavior plaguing your industry. But you know, I guess there's a lot of it going on. I do want to give other people last shot. Anything else, John? Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, sure. I really love what you were talking about, Rob, in terms of the program, stuff like that. And I'll definitely touch base with you again. Just a short version of what I'm kind of running through my head is the idea that, like, we're coming more to an age where we really got to be innovative in terms of the ways we provide education, and there's so many things that are available to us. So some of the things that I'm thinking about is gamification of teaching, stuff like that, and that's something that like I'm working on a whole separate thing about that. And the other thing was just the idea of education, entertainment, not in the sense of like kind of something fluffy, but in the sense of like just to really engross the people and engage them in the learning process with something like one of the courses that like I'm brainstorming about is the Zombie Apocalypse Guide to Survival for Entrepreneurs. Like just something that like basically absorbs the current student, somebody who's there, who's used to the idea of playing games on their PlayStation or watching Walking Dead, stuff like that, and still engage them with things that like really are life skills that they really need nowadays. So that's kind of some of the things that I have running through my head.
That sounds like those are some fun ideas. I like that. And just to clear up a little bit about what I said about we need a roadmap, I really believe that one size does not fit all. And that's why it'd be nice to get a group like this together to, I mean, this is similar to a group I did called the Virtual Brain Trust, which is very inactive now. But the idea is we would each have our own team. Because a lot of people are looking for mentors. I'm looking for a mentor. And they're very hard to find. And even if you find them, they're not necessarily that great. I don't think there's anything at all wrong with peer mentoring. I have some real questions. I was actually going to ping Denise about, how I charge clients. I think I mentioned I had one client complain. I mentioned before the camera went on, before we started recording. I had one client complain about a 15-minute charge. I didn't know how to handle that because, I'm always doing extra. I never charge what I actually do. It was like I'd work 45 minutes, 45 or so minutes or more, and I wrote down 15 minutes. And they complained about that and just took the wind out of my sails. I needed to talk to another entrepreneur. How do you handle that? You get pissed off, you lose a client. I'm not the most diplomatic person in the world. So, I mean, we need to help each other. The economy is changing, the world is changing, the labor force is definitely changing.
And at the same time, a rising ship raises all, a rising tide raises all ships. So we absolutely have to support each other.
Great. Other parting thoughts, because I'll just keep ranting. Michael, or any parting thoughts for us?
No, not really. I'd like to say something profound.
I think you're asleep on it, guy. I think the profound stuff will come later. I can just tell. So jump in later. You know where to find us. Mark, any parting thoughts for us, or anything you didn't say earlier?
Well, not really. If anybody wants to check my library out, the link's in there. I'm putting out 50 free videos. Some of those are HOAs that I've done live. I've been put under pressure live. Remember those who put under pressure live without notes. See it for yourself. Figure it out. I plan not to go live for a while on purpose. I'm working on my library right now. I got a huge database I'm building, a search off-site database, so I can search subject matter. It's too big to build it on-site. So I'm giving away 50 non-member. You got to remember, I'm not telling anybody. It's free for a reason. So go check out my stuff. You're going to find some really good content inside this site. So.
Well, I definitely will do so because, like I said, I can vouch for Mark.
Now, if anybody heard Zap, the Zapster show with, the Zap Wednesday show by Zara, she had a great guest, Mark, on today. Have you ever seen her show? She comes on every Wednesday. She wants to get me on her show again. I've been on twice. I'm going to give her the top 10 things you can do now today that's free to protect not only your local machine but your your actual your WordPress site.
Well, that sounds like important information. I think.
Yeah, because people think it's going to cost you money to protect yourself. It doesn't. This is something you can do right now. So I put off writing the paper or writing it up because I've been super busy. So take care, everybody. Thanks for having me on.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. John has also offered a guest pass to his Udacity. I don't know if I pronounced that right, of course. So if you saw that link. Denise, any parting thoughts for us?
No, but if you need a virtual assistant, get with me. And if we don't make a great match, I have the virtual assistant community on Google Plus, and I'll refer you out.
That's a great offer as well. So I'm going to close this the broadcast part in a minute. If people in the room still want to hang around and offer any parting thoughts, that's fine. But I am going to end the broadcast right now. This has been a special presentation of the Entrepreneurs, Small Business and Self-Employed Community on Google+. Today we tried something different. We tried a virtual co-working session, and I think it worked. I mean, we'll wait for the jury to come in on that, but definitely want to do it again. I haven't set a regular time for it. Definitely want to do it again. Maybe we'll get some other hosts to do it. But thank you all for listening. Thank you all for putting up with the rough spots, but this was fun and interesting, and so we'll catch you next time. Thanks a bunch, everybody.